Hi guys, it's Danielle, co-owner of Amityville Apothecary. How are you? I'm getting ready to begin an author talk with two fabulous women. Hi Pamela, I'm going to add you. For Samantha to join as well. Good. All right, I'm really looking forward to today's talk. Hi.
Hi, Danielle.
How are you, hon?
Good. Thank you for having us today.
Oh, I'm really thrilled. I love the book. I'm very excited to talk with both of you. It's good to see you again. I met you briefly in Phoenix, but we need more time.
We do. Yeah, Phoenix, that was the whole thing. It was everybody was just scrambling, I felt like.
Yeah. I met you, we were in between sessions, and we were with Madam Pamela and Jim. Yeah, Jim Divine, and you're both amazing. And they're like, "This is our friend Pamela Unicorn," and I'm like, "Hi, you're amazing." And you had like the cool moon boots and the colorful hair.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I like to dress up for events.
I love it. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So this is the book we're going to be talking about. I see that Samantha just joined the live. So Samantha, if you can just send a request. Let me look. Hold on.
Thank you.
Here it is. Okay, hopefully that launches, and then we'll have like, here we go. Success.
It's working.
Everybody hold up their wonderful book. This is called The Mandarin Tree. And with me with the fabulous colorful hair is Pamela Chen. And then we have Samantha Blossom. And I have so many questions. I read the book. I love it. I can't wait to put the practices into play because there's a lot here. And I'm so thrilled for you guys. I think it's really wonderful because I think Asian American magic is underrepresented in terms of published material. So I'm just so excited because people who come to the shop and who join us on live, they have been asking for this type of content. So it's very appropriate.
Oh, we're so excited. Thank you so much. That means so much to us. Like, yes.
Absolutely. Do you guys want to do some quick introductions of yourself and tell our audience a little bit about each of you?
Sure. Are you pointing at me, Pamela?
Yeah. Pamela, deferred to you first, Samantha.
Yay. Okay. So I'm Samantha Blossom. I am a manifestation mentor, an opulence oracle. I've been doing this since 2008. I lived in Shanghai, China for 6 years, so I studied like acupuncture, Chinese medicine there. And when I was there, I got really sick, and it's kind of intense. I was coughing blood for like 3 months, and but because of that, I found energy healing. Yeah. So that was my bridge to the magic realm.
Yeah.
And in like one session, I had like a 4-hour session, and it was like channeled, and like I felt so much energy activation, and I was almost completely better by like the second day. Wow. And I had tried so many different things, like from Western medicine to acupuncture to herbal medicine, and it was like an energy activation that like really healed it. So that's kind of what brought me to this path. And so then I started studying from like teachers from like all over the world. I was like, please show me everything. I just felt like people didn't know that there was these options, and that it was so simple, and it felt so easy, and it felt so good in your body. And so that's where my passion comes from.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I could relate because I'm a Reiki master as well, and Reiki transformed my life. It was one of those like before and after moments that I was like, what did you just do? And how do I learn it?
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, it's so available for us. But like, I think when you hear Reiki, you're like, oh, you hear it around, but you don't realize like how profound it can be. And also just to get like continuous initiations, like every time you get these activations, it like upgrades you so much, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then go ahead, Pamela, tell us a little bit about you. And then I have so many questions.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Pamela Chen, or Pamela Unicorn. I am a business coach, and I really work with energetics, mindset, magic, and the Akashic records a lot. My business partner, Alex, and I actually have a healing modality that she had channeled through working with me in a business program, and we've gone through Reiki too, and this is like a multi-dimensional new technology that we love sharing with everybody. Right now, I am helping spiritual entrepreneurs build their business online. That is one of my big passions, to help everyone step into their magic, awaken their magic, be, really authentic and share it with the world. And also, I am a published author with Llewellyn and Hay House and US Games. Yeah, Tarot, the Howls, you have that too. I am on my 10th publishing contract, and I really do owe it all to, channeling and energetics and manifestation too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so great the way that you guys approach manifestation and abundance and opulence. And I definitely want to talk a little bit about it, because it's not just monetary. It's that joy. It's the abundance of life. It's the blessings that come with it. It's the entirety of the lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes.
why don't each of you take a moment and tell me what manifestation and opulence mean to each of you?
Do you want to go first, Pamela?
Okay. So to me, we all manifest every single day. We are all very powerful manifestors. If you're watching and you don't think you're manifesting, you probably are. A lot of my clients are so powerful, but the thing is, they don't know how to intentionally manifest. So they're manifesting things from their subconscious mind that they don't want into their lives. Yeah. And so what we really need to focus on, and I think we share a lot of that in this book, is connecting your frequency and your energy to what it is that you desire. And working with rituals and an altar or a guide can really help us align to that energy, and also connect the physical realm to the energetic realm. And abundance, to me, I mean, money is a big one for me, because I moved out at a very young age, and there are stories in the book. Sam was like, we need to put our stories in the book. And I moved out at a very young age, so I was really poor for a long time. And I still had a good life, but just not enough money. And so I worked really hard on getting more money physically, working a lot of jobs, but also with magic, also with manifestation. And so that really proved to me my life can change. And so I just wanted to share that with everybody. And it is, the money, it's not about like having $1,000, $10,000 in the bank, right? It's about what that can bring you, the experience in your life.
Sure. Absolutely. And how about you, Samantha?
Yeah, so I think, like, imagine your mind as like a computer screen, and I think a lot of us tend to focus on the things that aren't going well or isn't quite there yet, and we don't realize that we're really powerful manifestors. Yeah. And in David Hawkins' book, like Power versus Force, he talks about frequencies, and he talks about like courage is at 200, so anything at 200 and above, we're in creation mode. But most of the planet is like below 200. So I think just from school, parents, ancestral programs, like a lot of our brains are kind of like addicted to suffering and like down in the fear. Yeah. And so it takes a lot of energy to be like, let's focus on what's going well. Let's focus on what you love. Like, and when I say the word love, it's not like a flat 2-dimensional word. Right. It's like your heart activated. It's like your heart energy is actually open and activated. And the universe feels that, and people feel that. Yeah. And you actually experience a different version of reality when your heart's actually open. Like, I think of us like almost as like little aliens. Like, you are like a receptor site, you know? I think because my undergrad's in biochem, so I'm like, oh, there's this like enzyme and it comes in, you know? So it's like we're actually like receptor sites, and we're taught to like push and do and hustle instead of like magnetize and receive. Yeah. So I feel like the book is to get you into the receptive mode. Yes. And I can't remember where I read, but it was like we're only receiving 2% of what the universe wants us to receive. So imagine if we like actually like leaned back and like became the magnets that we were supposed to be, because everything in the universe already exists. It's more just like, are you repelling and pushing this thing away, or are you leaning back and saying, hey, I'm gonna magnetize this? Yeah.
As I was reading this, I was like saying out loud, I'm like, yes, because it's a lot of the practices that I also teach and I believe, and everything that you're saying, I'm like, yeah, girl, like, it's amazing. It's true, because it is that frequency, and it's the law of attraction, right? So you have to raise your vibration to a certain level, and what you put into the universe, you attract back. And it's also the lens with which you look at the universe through, right? If you start with the blessings and you recognize those and you seek them out, then you're going to be more apt, more able to recognize those opportunities when they arise and act on them. And then you see them more frequently because the universe is presenting them more to you.
Yeah, exactly. And like whenever I manifest like big amounts of money, I'm in this like ridiculous phase where I'm like, oh my God, like who made that tree? Oh my God, that leaf is so cool. I'm like tickling the walls. And the thing is, like, I think people would like kind of like not get it and like make fun of me. So then I would squish down. Yep. But then I realized like, no, like that's literally how I manifested, is when I get into these like almost like Alice in Wonderland states where I'm like, oh my God, the universe is so amazing. Like, who made this? Yeah. And to be able to stay in that state, it's a cultivation and it's like a daily decision.
Yeah. So cool. And you ladies featured a number of deities and like the ancestors, working with them, Kuan Yin, working with the Chinese zodiac, which is amazing, working with the phoenix and the dragon and the money frog and the tiger. I love it. I love it. And each one has reasons as to how they individually help you. So like at first I was like, oh, I know which ones I am, but like actually there's more that I utilize regularly and I plan to utilize even more. So which do you identify with, or is it all of them?
I think, well, for me, it's like all of, I mean, it's like, it kind of depends on the day, it's like, I think you're kind of like, and maybe even all throughout the day, like, at least for me, the way I've been using it is like, oh, I find myself in like a low spot. And then like, I'm like, okay, where should I be guided? And then I'm like, oh, there. And it's so fast how it like brings the frequency up. And that was like our intention with when we created it.
Yeah.
And I do feel like it's like a radio frequency, and you're in different states, and you'll know which one you're supposed to connect to in that moment. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, it just feels like, oh, I really want to listen to hip hop right now, or like I really want to listen to jazz,
Yeah. I loved your incorporation and how you talked about the laughing Buddha too. I mean, I have a laughing Buddha statue, but how deep you go in, and bringing that humor and that playfulness and the joy, even in hard times, it's everything's momentary, and to find the blessing, it's really beautiful. So
yeah, I just did a laughing Buddha spell virtual, and it's partly to promote the book with the reels and stuff, but it actually overflowed over the plate, the desk, and into my carpet. And I was just like, this is like a waterfall of abundance. But working with these archetypes and deities, I had so much more realization, just by putting it into this book, about connecting with like our lineages, because I moved to the US from Taiwan at a very young age. So Sam has more experience in Taiwan and China, but things that I was told and I learned and how I prayed back then, and I'm reflecting on that now, and I'm just like, no, I did this. I'm doing what I'm doing now, working with the same deities as before. I just didn't make that connection because I was telling Sam that the names sound a little bit different.
Yeah.
So Kuan Yin is Guanxing Pusa in Chinese. So it didn't click in my head that it was the same goddess. So that was a really cool connection, personal connection for me too.
I love that. I love how both of you shared your individual personal stories, because so often we read books and they can be too encyclopedic or prescriptive, but you give a description of the archetype or of the deity and how they can benefit you, but then you share your personal stories. And I found, as I was reading it, I was like, oh yeah, this is how I relate to it too. And I think it's so beautiful and personal. It makes it so tangible in your own life, because you start understanding you don't have to be Asian American descent to be working with these energies.
I love that you say that because like there was a moment when, you know, like I'm on like 2 more contracts or 2 more proposals for books, and like I started hitting like my little self-doubt person, you know. And then like I was reading through like one of Pamela's stories, and then I was like, it just gave me so much hope. I'm like, oh yeah, like what was I thinking, you know? And it's like, and I think that's what's so powerful about personal stories. You're like, oh, this person's went through it. It's just a moment, and they can get to the other side of that journey, you know. And I feel like that's why like we wanted to include the stories. But also like in my early 20s, like I was like, I'm gonna write a book. I would literally collect. I was like, I know this moment's gonna be in a book.
Cool.
And so some of those are in here.
That was a little
You met
challenging for me, I think, because I actually don't. I mean, I started to more recently this year and last year sharing my past and my story, but I haven't really shared it with a lot of people before that. So it was, I think it was like a big, and it was Sam, my Jija. She was like, we need to share our stories. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, and I was like, okay.
I love it. How did you two meet?
Online on Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah, so I was looking for someone to, I think, mastermind with, and also be collaboration with me in a business thing. I was looking for like a money coach, and a friend of a friend suggested Sam, and so I found her on Instagram, and we just kind of hit it off. And even our editor Elysia, she's like, I didn't know she was just the other side of you. And we actually didn't meet in person before we wrote the book.
Wow.
So we met after.
Yeah, we literally wrote the entire book, and then we met like in Phoenix, and we were like, oh, this is exactly how I thought you were gonna be, you know, like, so it was just like, and I think like immediately we just kind of knew, you know. And when we were tuning into the book, we felt like there were some like past imperial lifetimes where we were like gonna bring this through. And I think like for me, I was really excited that this is what came through, because I always felt like, because like my mom's Buddhist, so I've been like in the Buddhist world for a long time, like sitting there doing like 8-hour like sutras and meditations and like weekend, you know, like I've done all of that, and I always felt like the new frequency wasn't coming through. And I feel like that was this opportunity of being like, yes, those are like these archetypes that have been in these ancient books, but they've also updated. Like the world is evolving, and like the deities also have like a new like a new frequency, you know. And it's like we're also open to receiving a new aspect of it, you know. And so I felt like we got to bring that through.
I feel like that comes through. I can't believe you guys only just met like in person in Phoenix. I wish I got to meet you in Phoenix, but you'll have to come to New York, both of you, and do an event.
Yes, we actually manifested. So we manifested this, like we're doing this manifestation thing together, and every single day we were like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. So we manifested this book and a trip to Paris together, like all of a sudden. Really crazy. And I think part of it was, so Sam, she was like, I want to write a book, and I was like, okay, let me help you. And I knew she could write, but also helping someone write a book, because I went through it myself, I was like, that's gonna be hard to coach, you know. And so I was like, why don't we just do it together? It'll be easier. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And it was very easy. Like most of the book was just channeled from both of us, you know. And then we had like our parts, and then we just like slotted it in, and we got on call to see which we had more archetypes. There was a lot more. And we're just like, who do we really want to have this represent, you know, this book? And so we had to cut down on some.
It's kind of funny, but this month I think Panda was like, why wasn't I in the book?
That could be part 2. That could be the next book.
Like,
an expansion of those who were not mentioned in the first book. But I think that's great. I mean, I love even the subtitle, Manifest Joy, Luck, and Magic, with 2 Asian American mystics. And I love that you're giving the credit that you're Asian American, and you even write like, look, we channeled this portion of our writing, and then here's some meditations and some rituals that you can be doing. And then here are the correspondences that all work with this archetype. And the instructions that you give allow someone the ability to personalize it to what feels most natural to them, but you're giving enough guidance and parameters to make it really easily approachable.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for those words.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it's like, to me, it's always really important, like the powers inside of themselves,
Yeah.
you know, like this is just a guide to remind them of the power that's already inside of them. So
Yeah.
that was like, that was really intentional for us to make sure like that they didn't feel like we're like, you know, pushing an idea, but that we're just like, we're saying, here's the buffet of options, you know, and it's like, this is what can bring out your own power. And like, you know, I feel like that was really important to us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. So who what's your favorite part of it? Like when you're like, when you think back, you're like, this part is really like my favorite.
Ooh.
Well, I'm really happy that they included the crystal feng shui, because actually I wrote it for the first book and they told me to take the entire chapter out. But I think it was for this book. And then I was like, look what I have, Sam. And she's like, perfect. And she wrote the 5 elements. So I
Yeah.
think that was really cool. And I think my favorite part about this is how we came to this vision. So it started off as like Far East Asian magic and kind of like a serious path. And then working with like our editor, she's like, you guys are, you know, more expansive and fun. And so we had to change the title. We did have full edits twice to really, and I think it hit the right frequency after. This
And
was it.
it
Yeah.
was funny because like in the very beginning, like I wanted to write something really heavy. Like
Heavy.
I was like, oh, breaking the Asian matrix. Like that's what I was thinking. And,
Yeah.
and then and Pamela was like, I don't know if that's gonna be like, and I was like, of course the universe is like, hey, I get that you're like biochemistry, mental brain thinks like that's what's gonna, you know, but it was like, no, it's supposed to be this like playful, and I'm like, thank goodness the universe like course corrected and was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is playful and it is joyful and it's an enjoyable read and palatable, like the way that you organized it for each archetype and then your guide to magical success. And there's great illustrations in here. I mean, I want to go deeper. Like the money
You
frog. I would see
love the
this
money
little,
frog. I could
I
tell.
love the money frog, and I didn't know enough about him. So I really
Aw.
enjoyed learning about the money frog. Now I'm going to a trade show tomorrow. I'm going to keep my eye out for my own money frog.
Yay. Yeah, we do have to dedicate the money frog partly to Sam's mom, Aish. Thank you, because
Oh,
she really told us, like, we were writing it, and I guess
so cute.
Sam shared a little bit about what we're writing, and she's like, no, that's not it. And she was like telling us exactly what the tradition is and what to do with the money frog. We're like, okay,
she's like,
Auntie, okay.
what are you doing? That's not right.
Yeah. We're like, I was like, okay, tell us, Auntie, tell us what it is. Yeah.
She's
It's
very
cool.
real.
And that's a reminder to like take a leap and be playful and trust your gut and trust your instincts and like do what is true in your heart. And then it's those times that you're like, wow, you know, I'm really glad I decided to do that.
Yeah, even though you have 3 legs, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the money frog is missing a leg.
I didn't know that, and I love that.
It's
So
so cute. Yeah, it was.
cute.
I think my favorite part of like the meditations were like my favorite for every section. The meditations for sure, because like it's something that I naturally see when I meditate, and so I was like to be able to put it into words was like really exciting for me.
Yeah.
And then like it was at the end that our editor was like, can you write a chapter on the 5 elements?
Yeah.
And I actually really because I felt like I got to exercise all my Chinese medicine stuff, and I wanted to make it like a simplified version that like anybody could use it. It wasn't going to be like super complex,
Yep.
but like you could read it and be like, oh yeah, I can like apply that to my everyday eating, food, clothes, whatever, you know?
Yep.
And so, yeah, so I feel like I was excited about that.
Yeah. I
I
think
love it.
for Sam and I, we really approached, and we approached this in our coaching, our writing, everything, that we want something that we would be able to understand and love doing easily, because I mean, people don't have time to read an encyclopedia right now, right? Like, you know, they don't
Who
have.
does? Who
like,
wants to read an encyclopedia?
hard. Like sometimes I just need something easy. I just need something easy to follow, do now, and get activated. And so that was really what our focus was.
But you accomplished that, definitely, because it's fun, it's engaging, it does provide great information without it being too heavy. Like, so when you say like, oh, you really wanted to go deep, like, yeah, that I think that would have missed the mark. Like, it's beautiful.
She
It's
wanted
beautiful.
to go really deep.
I respect it. It's just this is so well done, and it's so funny because I love the Mandarin Tree. Like that, just when I talk to people about, and I use words to describe that joy, that happiness. I go, you ever open up an orange and it's just that delicious sweetness of life, and you're like, like that isn't captured throughout the entire book. So
love that. You know, and like me and Pamela went through some hard times in this lifetime, you know, and I think that we were able to be like, hey, we saw that illusion of that struggle, and we're like, actually, like, you're always able to get out of it. And so it was like, to us, it was like, hey, we're planting little prosperity trees like all over the planet. You know, it's like, it's so easy to get so stuck in the darkness, but it's like, you don't have to stay there. And sometimes it's the tiniest little shift. It's like looking at this thing from that one little different angle, or like cutting an orange, smelling it, and just being like, whoa, everything's fine, you know? And like, and that's what, you know, we feel like we're like, let's see these in airports.
yeah.
The Mandarin Tree name, I forgot. I think someone on the Llewellyn committee came up with the name, and because we talked a lot about, you know, like in Chinese New Year, we always give mandarins for prosperity, luck, and this whole book was about the energy and frequency of it, and we wanted a Mandarin tree on the cover. It was a totally different cover. But we wanted the Mandarin Tree on the cover, and so I think that's why it's named this. Not too sure how it got there.
The cover is beautiful for our people watching. Look at that! Isn't that so colorful and gorgeous?
Yeah,
I love it.
It is the artist, and we wanted her. We're just like, please. And she did an incredible job with the cover and throughout the book. There was actually no mandarins in the cover of the first edit, remember? And we're like, oh, I think we need to put some mandarins in there. And so she added that, and that was really beautiful how she put that in with the dragon and the phoenix. And Sam had shared the other day that this is a dragon year.
Yep.
And it's so crazy that our book came out this year. Like, it wasn't planned.
That's cool. You want to talk a little bit about, like, tease some of the traits of each archetype for our users?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the dragon archetype is the dragon, because the dragon's like so big. Well, one, just the knowing that like so many of us believe in dragons, but it's like not really in this dimension, shows us how powerful that the dragon is. It's like, okay, it exists, you know, like we all have like created it in our imagination somewhere. Like, that's how powerful it is. And to me, like, when you tap into dragon, it's like shifting a whole force field. It's like, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm kind of in the crumbles. Like, I don't know how to get out of this. And it's like, you call upon the dragon, and it's like, force field, like, shift, you know? So that's my joy on the dragons.
Yeah.
Pamela?
Yeah, and now opposite the dragon, because you see this a lot in like with the emperors of China, they have the dragon and the phoenix, right? So they're both very royal, very powerful, very ancient. And so the phoenix is really like the rebirth, right? After going through some stuff, you turn into ashes, and you rise from the ashes, because now you have like the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom to go through, you know, the next level, the next experience, so that you can evolve in your life and your abundance. And it's kind of like, if you think of like the 10 of Pentacles or something, right? Now you came out, and so the phoenix is really to discover that renewal of self. And even if you are at the bottom, there's always, you can't go anymore, right? There's always there's always the
cycle
next
begin.
level to fly up to. Yeah.
My cat's name is Phoenix. I relate to that. Yeah.
Oh my God, what a great name.
That's my life song, the death and rebirth. I have a stellium in the 8th, and Pluto's conjunct my sun at my midheaven. So like death and rebirth, that's my strongest archetype.
Wow,
Yeah.
I can see that. Let's see. Okay, so I think with the next one, I would say the tiger.
Mm.
And it's funny because we hear tiger mom, you know, and I think like I feel like a lot of Asian women in the beginning are like quite suppressed, and it's like all of a sudden they like gain their power in their like 30s or whatever, and like that power is like exaggerated a little bit. And so I feel like the tiger archetype was just to like bring out your empowered self, you know?
Yeah.
And I was super shy growing up, like really, really shy. Like a lot of people have a hard time believing that, but I was like so shy. Like I'm like shaking, you know? And I felt like the tiger was to be like, no, like you're allowed to exercise your power. You can bring that version of you out. And I think even in like the spiritual community, a lot of times like they're like afraid of like activating their power a little bit, you know, obviously not everyone. I just mean like there's like certain archetypes, and I just am like their power is so beautiful, and it's just like giving them an opportunity to like exercise that identity and to bring that forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the next one is your favorite, Danielle, the money frog.
Yeah.
So the money frog is really cool per Sam's mom, right? If you, in the daytime, you face it out towards the door so that it can bring money in. And at the nighttime, you turn it back so it protects your money. And the money is money because the energetic currency of our world is money. And so we need to stop shaming how money is a selfish thing, is not a spiritual thing, because actually money is very spiritual. And when we can take care of our physical resources and not having to worry about maybe paying the bills, not having to worry about paying for food, which I really experienced myself, then it is when we have the time to work on our magic, right? To be in deep, to meditate, all these things. We wouldn't have this if we don't have that money, that energy to support us daily.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
Yeah,
Beautifully
I
said.
want to add a little bit to that. I think that money, people place their like survival programs onto it. Like that's what how they're seeing it. And so that's how it shows up. But then when you get more playful and you bring your creative centers to it, then it shows up really differently.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're stressed, don't look at your bank account.
Yes.
Like if you're stressed, think about corn or like clouds or leaves, you know? And it's like, wait until you're like, okay, I feel like cotton candy and really yummy. I was like, then look at your bank account, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Definitely. A lot of people do struggle. They have like money fear or different associations with it. So
yeah. And you know,
yeah.
Asians, the Taiwanese, like they just wish for money or health. Like it's really what in Chinese years, like have a lot of money, have a lot of health, you know, make a lot of money. And so it's not a bad thing, but I also do think it's like the giving back of, because if you go to dinner with like the Asian families and they'll be like literally fighting over the check, like pushing it, like grabbing, because they want to also, you know, share the money. So it is like a legacy thing.
I love that.
What do we have next?
Golden ancestors. Your favorite.
So Pamela didn't know she wanted this section, but I was like, yeah, we have to have this section.
Yeah.
And because like I feel like a lot of times we do healing and we kind of focus on the wounding of the ancestors, but like the ancestors went through a lot of resilience training to bring forward like treasures and gems. And I feel like, you know, like when we talk about these golden ancestors, it's to tap into the version of them that's like kind of like left the earth realm, already went back up into like, you know, spiritual world, and like they've already done their enlightenment process. And that version of them can support you and help you a lot. And they're not in their three-dimensional personality identities anymore.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people are missing out by not taking time to connect with them. But like those ancestors can support you a lot. But it's just like you have to ask angels for help and guidance, or they can't really interfere. It's like the same with your ancestors. And your golden ancestors know your bloodline so they kind of know the fastest like hacker codes for you.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, so it's kind of a two-way street of like sending them love and blessings, and then they also will naturally send you love and blessings. So
and I think I was really, does everybody get the pattern now? Everything I'm resistant to, I say yes to, and it turns out great. That's how life works.
Yeah.
But I was resistant to adding the ancestors because I don't have a really good relationship with my family, and I actually don't know my entire dad's side. And so when we started, I was starting to work with my ancestors. And so at that time, I was still a little bit resistant. But what I really found out is you don't need to know your family. You don't need to, even if you're adopted, it's okay if you don't know your ancestors because it is already part of your lineage. And the golden ancestors, I think, are really special because, like Sam said, this is like the highest level frequency ancestors that we're really tapping into. And so they do have gifts for you, right?
Yes.
I received a message that your dad's side actually has gifts and abundance for you. I was like, okay, I'm in. So that's how it got me. And I'm really grateful for the pink thing in the back is my ancestral altar.
Yeah.
And so I'm really grateful. And I think anybody should try working with their ancestors because it's part of us.
Yeah.
Right. And so it does bring a lot of abundance in.
yeah, like when we were writing this, like I had like a great great grandfather basically like open a treasure chest for me, and I was like, I'd never seen that before, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, and it felt like such a huge opening. I felt like in that moment I was just like, you know, like money physically might fluctuate in and out, but like I just know it's infinite. It's like always going to show up and appear. And like in that moment, it's like I really felt that working with the ancestors. And I think that, you know, it's like we could work with the three-dimensional archetypes of the ancestors, which would be fragmented energetics, but like that's not the aspect that we're tapping into. We're really tapping into the version of them that have already like done the training. They're already enlightened and they can really guide you.
Yeah.
The highest realm. I think that's a spiritual principle that transcends all cultures, honestly. Honoring and working with the highest version of the ancestral line. I think it's beautiful. I personally use that, especially during my energetic work. I call upon my angels, but also my ancestors to stand with me and to help facilitate that. For when I need my guidance, I call upon my grandparents and those who have walked before me because they know the lineage.
Love that so much.
The next one is Kuan Yin. So like I said earlier, I had amazing realization writing this that, it was the goddess that I, pray to all the time. It was the same goddess. I actually didn't really work with the English name Kuan Yin goddess. I never connected to her and I didn't know why. And then so when Sam was like, we were talking about it and she's like, it's Guanxin Pusa. I was like, that's who I work with. And so I know, usually she's for like compassion and all these things. But I really worked with her for abundance. And that's what we wrote. And we almost changed it, but we didn't because we wanted to stay true to the frequency of ourselves and our practice. Right. And I do work with this one emanation. She has Chen, 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes on her hands, that Kuan Yin. And it's very powerful working with her because she, not only for this one thing, but I feel like we just pray to her for like everything. You could just pray to Guanxin Pusa for like everything that you desire. And I think it's really, it really is the desire leading, right? What's true to your soul and heart.
Yeah, so Guanyin, I think we didn't put that in the book, but now I'm like, maybe we could have. But Guanyin also brings
Can't change it anymore.
Maybe second edition? No. But Guanyin also brings in children, like brings in like divine children. And I've had several clients like that had a really hard time conceiving. Yeah. And I'll connect with Guanyin and bring divine children through. And it's amazing how she always delivers. It's so wild.
That's amazing. I think the story I shared, and we had to take it out because they were like, this is kind of crazy, but I'm like, can I share it? So it was, when I was like 3 or 4 in Taiwan, my mom actually got kidnapped in a taxi. And so she was like praying to Kuan Yin, like, please help, please help. And because our family is really connected to Kuan Yin because one of our aunties, and this is like in the 90s, she was flying and she took like a camera picture of the clouds. And when they developed it, it was only like 5 pictures and it was only black and white of like the Buddha of Kuan Yin. It was crazy. And so we have her like on the altar and stuff, but so she prayed really hard and the kidnapper just let her go. Like didn't do anything to her, didn't even take her money and just let her go. Yeah. So that was like a big, I believe.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank God she's okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, I remember hearing there was like a story of like in Japan, like the building, like it was the earthquake and it was like, anyways, there was a woman that was basically like unconscious, but she saw Guan Yin give her an apple every day. So she like didn't eat or drink anything for a week and they found her and she was totally fine. But she said the whole time she saw Guan Yin like, you know, deliver. And so like, you know, growing up, we heard so many of these stories. Like these were just like normal for us.
Yeah.
Well, how do you guys equate? I tend to think of Kuan Yin as a very similar energy and archetype as the Blessed Mother that I call upon a lot. I'm actually wearing a medallion now, but when I think about Kuan Yin, I think about all of the very similar principles and characteristics.
Yes. Yeah. Like Mary Magdalene, she would probably represent that in like the priestess lineages. I do believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Mary Magdalene, they say, is the wife of Jesus, but the mother of Jesus. Like she's the mother of all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mary,
So the Blessed Mother is with the blue cloak. That is the mother of all. She's compassionate. She's forgiving. She's nurturing. So you know, what I think they're very, very similar. And just you know, when you need a hug, like what you said, you have a very tough relationship with your mom. I also had a very tumultuous relationship with mine, but you know, that nurturance that I crave, like I call to her and I just know like unconditional love and that comfort and forgiveness and peace. So that's what I think of when you ladies are talking about Kuan Yin, especially with like the fertility challenges and I like the money. I'm gonna start calling it.
Yeah, I think she's just like it's gonna be okay goddess, right?
Yeah.
Like
Nurture,
it's gonna be fine.
right?
Like whatever it is that you're worried about, or you know, it's going to work out. Yeah,
love that.
Yeah. And I think it's really like, so basically these archetypes run at a very high frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we connect with them, it's like you start to kind of calibrate to that. So it's like, let's say you take like if you took rosemary and you like squished it, your hand would kind of smell like rosemary. You know, you'd feel that like residue. And it's like when you connect with these archetypes, it's like something shifts in your force field and it like adjusts you, you know? And so, so I feel like that's like a fun way to think about it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we're up to Laughing Buddha, right?
Laughing Buddha. Yeah. Laughing Buddha is just all about celebration and joy. And I think when we were discussing the Laughing Buddha and talking about him, it was, you know, you rub the belly for good luck. And then Sam and I was like, yeah, that's why we Asians love to like karaoke, right? We love to sing and bring in the joy and celebration together. And, you know, in Taiwan, and, you know, they really love to eat. Gather for hot pot, right? We gather to eat a lot because of that unity and that celebration and community. And so we really do feel like this is the energetics of the Laughing Buddha. And again, the joy is at a higher frequency.
So in like the Buddhist tradition, it was like you have Siddhartha, which was like that's like the original Buddha. And then the next Buddha that's supposed to come is the Laughing Buddha, which is like Lord Maitreya. And so it's like we're adjusting to these like higher frequencies of like playfulness. And they kind of have like the story of just like the Laughing Buddha was like, I have time to get enlightened. I'm just like gonna have fun until like you know, like until I like get there. It's like he moves through celebration to get to his awakening, you know, and it's kind of like that's like the time period we're like starting to like step into.
I need more of that in my life. I love that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Very cool. And then you go into what
Oh, I
the zodiac, right? The
Yeah, the
Chinese.
lunisolar, so the lunisolar zodiac. So I mean, for a time, I was like as big as everybody is on astrology. I was really big into that, and I'd be like, "What year are you born? You know, are you the dog? Are you the rat?" So we just thought it was like a really fun and important piece because we're both very into like feng shui and all of that, and this could also help someone, you know, just like have like a foundational point, maybe the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year's or something, to create luck for the year. So there are like things like, hey, beliefs, right? Superstition on what you can do on these loony New Year's to bring in more luck and more prosperity. And we do that every single year. I'm like feeding the tigers of the lion dance. And so there's just a lot of things that we can do to intentionally, if we think it because we believe it, it's going to happen for us.
You're harnessing that energy. I think it's beautiful. I'm a rabbit. What are you guys?
I'm a dog.
Yeah.
I was like, where am I?
I like how you put the compatibility and what's not compatible. That's good.
Yeah. And I think it's true because my grandma is a horse and not really compatible with the rat. And she always yelled a lot.
You're like, this makes sense to me.
And I think it's not like you would hate each other. I think it's just you both have a really different ways of thinking because you're opposite on the wheel. Yeah. Right. And so if you know that and you understand that, hey, look, Sam just thinks differently than I do, then when you come into relationship with them, then you can not be in the human, you know, and be emotional and be like, okay, that's just how they are because of their, you know, mindset or frequency or whatever. Yeah.
Maybe meet in the middle also, because the traditional zodiac wheel too. I mean, I'm a Libra, so it's me plus other, but the opposite is Aries, which is all about like me. Yeah. So, you know, when they come together, how do you meet in the middle? And maybe that's the work we need to do.
Yeah. My mom always talked about the pig. She's like, oh, both of your aunts are born in the year of the pig. They're so lucky. They don't need to work, you know, like.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of have these little like conversations of like, it's just in the everyday conversation of like, oh yeah, your uncle's like a horse. Like, I don't know. It is really funny how it's like kind of embedded in the culture. So I think it's fun that we added it in there.
Totally. I have a separate book on the Chinese zodiac, and I love it. I thought it was so interesting.
Yeah. And actually, I think at Hay House you met Vicky Isklander, and she has a whole oracle deck on, and so we actually did a live with her also, and she like tells you how to be like your secret friends, your allies that supports you. Like it's super. I
gotta get that one.
Yeah, I think the lunisolar, you know, Chinese zodiac is really interesting and it's really fun, and there's just so much things for prosperity. Like everything's around like money and health, you know, and so I think it's really cool.
Okay, I'm gonna add that to the order list.
Yeah. I love that you said that because it's kind of like we gave it like an intro so then people can like get into other books that like elaborate more.
I think it's great.
And like the feng shui is based off of the lunar energies, the animals. So whether it's good luck today or not depends on the energy of the year, right? Dragon year and who it's compatible with, and every single day is a different animal energy.
Okay.
Even different times. Yeah. And so, I mean, I live in Vegas, so a lot of people come and gamble and will be like, don't gamble at the black times. And it really works though, I swear. The red times are money, and they do win money there. And during the black times, they lose a lot of money. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know who I'll be calling next time I'm going to Vegas.
I'll tell you. Yeah. So, I mean, I plan out my entire business around these days. Like the money, I post it every month, like the money days.
Cool. It's fascinating.
No.
I think we have the 5 elements next, and that's yours.
Yeah.
Oh, 5 elements.
Yeah.
So I kind of talked about the 5 elements as like, imagine they were like different paintbrushes, you know, or different colors of paint that you could like create reality with. And I think actually like the 5 elements can be really powerful on like a consciousness level.
Yep.
So like for instance, like if someone has repetitive thoughts about something and they can't let it go, they can bring in the metal element. I would just ask the body to be like, hey, increase metal element by 30%, like help me release these beliefs, you know? You can always like muscle test and be like, is it 10, 20, 30%? You know, like ask like how much to like increase metal element to let something go.
That's cool.
Or if there's a part of your system that just like isn't maturing, you know, like some people like this kind of a select, well, let's say someone had like alcoholic parents, right? And so the parents weren't present as much. So they may have a harder time developing the emotions. So they can say water element linked to wood element. So water, you're watering the tree, please help the emotions to become more mature.
Wow.
And so you can play with the elements in these beautiful ways to like support you. Or like let's say you're really having a hard time creating a savings account. You can say increase earth element by 60% in the savings account, because the earth element is about grounding and stabilizing and making sure something stays, you know. But if someone just doesn't have the habit of something grounding, they can every day kind of like apply that to the consciousness and be like, okay, I would love earth element to support me in this bank account and like making it more stable, or like their marriage or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah. I think it's we didn't add this in there because we added the 5 elements chapter after, but in also the zodiac, you have like, I'm a wood rat, you can like Google that or whatever year it is. And so if I know that I need support, I could go to a water element person and they can nourish me, right? And so if you're a water, you can go to a metal person because they can hold your water. So you can also work with it like that.
Yeah.
There's so many layers. It just
we have a lot of things. We're like, oh, we should have put it in the book.
I love. Listen, how much? Then it would be an encyclopedia, right?
A lot, yeah.
But I love it. You can go down a rabbit hole and you can go deep and just this is exactly what we're talking about. It's awesome.
And then the crystal feng shui is, so that's actually what I like really started with my business. Like my whole online business, I was like a crystal magic coach, and I was like coaching entrepreneurs how to like add crystal magic in their business and for money. And so when I wrote Enchanted Crystal Magic, I had that in the chapter and they took it out. I forgot what the reason was. And then I was like, oh, it's perfect for this because it has the Asian quality to it. And so it's really about how to set up like your space or your desk or your room into having the right energies flow for abundance. And so I did put in some crystals that you can use for abundance, money, joy, health, all of that is in there. And it's not very hard. It's very easy. Just like follow that Bagao map, right? Map.
Yep.
And then you just like place your things. It's very easy for feng shui, and it's really intuitive too.
I love it. We can collab and create the little crystal kits for you to correspond with
your. Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah,
that would be fun. The question was, what's the name of the book? It's called The Mandarin Tree, and these fabulous ladies are named Pamela Chen and Samantha Blossom, and we sell it at Amityville Apothecary. It's a really awesome book. It's so much fun, and you guys are great. I can't wait to get together with you both in person again at the next event. So, and if you want to come to New York, manifest a trip to come and see us, and we'll line up a whole workshop.
Oh, awesome!
And
that'd be amazing. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I've never been to New York. It's on my list.
Come to we're going to be hosting a book party in California by the LA River, June 23rd. You're invited, Danielle.
You never know. Maybe I'll hop a flight and go join you guys. Some of the details.
Jim is coming. Well,
Who is Pam and Jim?
Yeah,
oh my God, they're the most fun.
They're close though. They're right there. So
I love them so much. They have become such dear friends of us, and now you guys are too. I love it. So the circle just keeps widening. So we did send you guys book plates. So for those of you watching, we will have signed copies with book plates that you can add directly in to your book, and you can order the book online. And if you have trouble with that, then definitely it's shop amityvilleapothecary.com is our website. But if you have trouble, just contact us and we can send you an invoice. It's amazing, and it's called the Mandarin Tree. And follow. Oh, what are your Instagram handles so everybody can follow you guys?
At Pamela Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
And Samantha Love Blossom.
Beautiful, beautiful. Does anybody in the audience have any questions before we close up? I mean, I could talk for another hour, but I'm gonna respect the time that you guys have.
Someone's
So.
also a wood rat. Yay! Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's Fallon. Fallon's one of our regular customers.
Aw,
Pandemics.
Fallon.
Perfect. So yeah, there's been a lot of comments. Of course, and we joke and say I have Magoo eyes, so I haven't been able to catch all of the comments because once I hit 40, my eyesight started going downhill. And then Pamela also created this beautiful tarot of the owl deck that we love. Everybody's loving the conversation. They're saying, no questions, just want to say that I love seeing Asian representation in the space.
Thank you. Thank you. I do want to really thank Llewellyn, though, because they really helped us like develop this book. And they were really supportive, and we really got to like put ourselves, like our authentic selves, into the book.
They were so great, and like editing it was so fun, and it was like everything that they said like made total sense. We're like, of course.
Yeah.
And
So
you know, I just felt like the whole process was like, it was such a fun project. It was like, I felt like it was flow the whole time, you know, so it was really cool.
Well, that's beautiful. I mean, we do a lot of these author talks through Llewellyn, and the authors and the quality of the books and the quality of the decks, it's just so much fun. And I'm so happy to hear you both say that. And I'm sure there's going to be more to come.
Yes.
So you said you have 2 projects in the works right now, Samantha, right?
Yeah, I have one that it's going to be like body key codes, like how to speak to your body consciousness. And then someone has asked for like a human design book. So those are my 2.
Cool.
They come through.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Very cool. And what about you, Pamela?
So Wealth Witchery is coming out next with Llewellyn.
Awesome.
And Steampunk Fairy Tarot is coming out this September.
So fun.
And Catacorn with US Games is coming out the end of this month, which I didn't
We already ordered it. I can't wait.
Oh, you did? You are, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
You.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
come back on. I'll come back on.
Anything cat related? Should I go get my cat
I
Phoenix?
do have it. I do have it.
Oh yeah, go get your cat, Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Catacorn.
Okay, let me run out of frame for a quick second. Hold
I'll
on.
bring Kumo.
Okay.
And then
Hold on, here it comes. Oh, Gigi, I'm sorry. Come here, Gigi. Okay, I actually have 2 cats. Here they are.
oh my gosh, they're so cute.
So this is Phoenix. My black and white is Phoenix. And this one's Gigi.
Oh, come
Yeah, these are my little kitty cats.
on. Yeah. I don't have cats because boyfriend won't allow me to have inside animals.
Oh,
We have coop kitties that come into our chicken coops to sleep. And so they're friends. Yeah. And there's the black and white one, like Phoenix. Yeah. So you know, I don't have inside cats, but I just love everything animals.
I love animals too.
Yeah.
And the dogs are so cute. I love animals. I mean, I would have a menagerie of animals.
Yeah. Oh, and Alex and I, my business partner, we have Galactic Star Tarot coming out with Hay House in January 2025.
Awesome.
We're very
I'm so proud of you ladies. I aspire to publish something, so stay tuned. But like, you definitely inspire me, and I've had so much fun talking with you both.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. What is will the nameplate if we order today? Will the nameplate be in the book if we order today?
Well, Fallon, we can get you a nameplate. It's on a sticker, so we can get you one even if you order the book now. We can make sure that you get a nameplate that you can insert it, because I'm just waiting to get the book plates back from the ladies, because they live separately. Yeah. But they're coming. They're coming. But the book is available now.
We promise.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is so much fun, guys. Get your book. It's The Mandarin Tree. I had so much fun with you, and this will be saved online. And stay in touch, okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Danielle.
All right. Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.